Picture this, Kansas, 1825, a bustling saloon, and behind the counter an unusual worker named Kenny, a cat. Life in the old Wild West was filled with peculiar tales, but none quite as unique as the story of Kenny the Whisky Cat. You see, Kenny wasn't your ordinary feline, and his journey to the saloon was anything but typical. Word has it that one rainy night, the saloon owner found Kenny, a scruffy little furball, drenched and shivering on his doorstep. The owner, being a man of little sentiment, was about to shoo him away until he noticed something peculiar. As he poured himself a glass of whiskey, Kenny's eyes lit up. Intrigued, he set the glass down in front of Kenny, and to his surprise, Kenny began to lap it up. That night, Kenny not only gained a home but also a job. As the saloon's official Whisky Cat, Kenny was tasked with a most curious duty, tasting every new batch of whiskey before it was served to the customers. His discerning palate quickly became known around town, and patrons would often wait for Kenny's approval before ordering their drinks. His compensation? $2 a month, enough food to keep his belly full, and a cozy room upstairs where he could watch the comings and goings of the town. The saloon itself was a microcosm of Kansas in 1825. Cowboys, miners and farmers, all weary from their long and laborious days, would gather here to quench their thirst and exchange tales. The air would be filled with the sounds of laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the occasional heated argument. Amidst all this, Kenny held his own, his presence as much a part of the saloon as the whiskey he tasted. And so Kenny the cat had found his place in the world, or so he thought. Little did he know that his life was about to take a turn, transforming him from a whiskey-tasting feline to a legendary hero of the Wild West. But that, dear friends, is a tale for another time. One fateful day, a desert desperado rode into town, bringing with him an air of danger and confrontation. This desperado wasn't your everyday drifter, no sir. He was a gnarly sort with sun-baked skin, a grimy hat tilted low over his eyes, and a crooked sneer that could chill a rattlesnake's blood. His arrival turned the once bustling town into a ghost town. Dust devils danced in the abandoned streets, and the only sound to be heard was the ominous creaking of the saloon's swinging doors as he strode in. Inside the saloon, the usual cacophony of clinking glasses, raucous laughter, and honky-tonk piano faded into a deathly silence. The desperado's boots thudded ominously on the wooden floor, each step a chilling echo of the danger he represented. The patrons held their breath, their eyes darting nervously between the outlaw and the town marshal, a sturdy figure with a reputation for keeping the peace. The marshal, a man of few words but many deeds, stood his ground. His hand hovered near his holster, his gaze never wavering from the desperados. The air was thick with tension. It crackled like a dry twig under a cowboy's boot, ready to snap at the slightest provocation. The patrons of the saloon, including our feline friend Kenny, could only watch in nervous anticipation. The silence was broken only by the occasional clink of a whiskey glass, shaking in a patron's hand. The confrontation between the desperado and the marshal was a scene straight out of a dime novel. A showdown between law and lawlessness, order and chaos. The desperado, with a wicked glint in his eye, slowly reached for his gun. The room's temperature seemed to drop, and time itself held its breath. As the desperado reached for his gun, it seemed all hope was lost, but not if Kenny had anything to say about it. In a blink of an eye, Kenny sprang into action, his quick thinking becoming the town's only hope. As the desperado's hand closed over his pistol, the saloon swelled with a silence so heavy it could smother a man. But Kenny, the Whisky Cat, was undeterred. The desperado, a notorious outlaw known for his quick draw, had his eyes fixed on the marshal. The town's protector was caught off guard, his own weapons still holstered. But Kenny, ever alert, had been observing from his perch atop the bar. He knew he had to act, and fast. With a swift leap, Kenny launched himself onto the desperado's arm. His claws sank into the rugged fabric of the outlaw's coat, throwing off his aim. Startled, the desperado fired his weapon, but the bullet went wide, burying itself harmlessly in the saloon's wooden beam. The marshal, given a precious few seconds by Kenny's distraction, drew his own weapon. With a steady hand and a calmness that belied the chaos around him, he fired a single, well-aimed shot. The desperado crumpled, his reign of terror finally ended. In the immediate aftermath, the saloon erupted into cheers. Drinks were poured and toasts were made to Kenny, the Whisky Cat who had saved the day. The marshal, ever stoic, offered a simple nod of gratitude to the feline hero. Kenny, for his part, simply returned to his spot atop the bar, his green eyes shining with satisfaction. Word of Kenny's bravery soon spread throughout the town. Mothers told their children about the heroic cat who had outsmarted an outlaw. Fathers, over evening meals, spoke of his bravery and quick thinking. And in the saloon, the patrons raised their glasses higher, their toasts louder, their smiles brighter. Kenny, the Whisky Cat, had become a beacon of hope, a symbol of courage amidst the lawlessness of the Wild West. And just like that, Kenny, the saloon cat, had become a town hero. His actions that day not only saved the life of the marshal, but also changed the course of his own life forever. They say that every hero has a story, and Kenny's was only just beginning. With his newfound fame, Kenny's life was about to take another unexpected turn. The reward for thwarting the desert desperado was more than a mere pat on the back. The townfolk, grateful for Kenny's quick thinking and bravery, showered him with a generous reward. It was enough to make anyone's eyes widen. But for Kenny, it was a ticket to a new life. With the reward money, Kenny made two significant purchases. The first was a piece of land on the outskirts of town. Now, Kenny wasn't just a saloon cat, he was a farm owner, a property holder, a stakeholder in the very land he once roamed as a stray. But Kenny didn't stop there. With the remaining funds, he opened a small general store in the heart of the town. It was a quaint little establishment, stocked with essentials and a few luxuries. The townsfolk came not just for the goods, but for the company of the town's hero. Kenny's popularity didn't wane. If anything, it increased. He was no longer just the saloon worker. He was the town hero, the farm owner, the store proprietor. He was a pillar of the community, an unlikely figure of stability and reliability in a town that had seen its share of chaos and uncertainty. The townsfolk loved Kenny. They loved his story, his spirit, his courage. They loved the way he'd turned his life around, proving that anyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, could become a hero. Kenny's story became a tale told around campfires and dinner tables. It was a story shared with visitors and passed down from generation to generation. It was a story of redemption, of courage, of the power of quick thinking and a strong spirit. It was a story that resonated with the people of the town, a story that became a part of their identity. And so, Kenny's tale became a legend of the old Wild West, a testament to the unlikely heroes among us.